Well, it is 4 o'clock, and we started this hour with breaking news. This is out of Sandusky County. Troopers say nearly 50 cars were involved in a crash on the turnpike. And we know at least one person has died at this scene, and several people have been injured. Buses are taking people from their vehicles to a local facility just to keep them warm.
This all happened between State Route 53 and State Route 4. The turnpike is currently closed in both directions, and 3 News will continue to stay on top of this story and bring you updates as we get them.
Now, this, as a blizzard warning, is in effect for parts of Northeast Ohio for the first time in 10 years. Roads are extremely slippery in some areas tonight, so we've got a lot to get into tonight as far as weather goes.
Indeed, we do.
We do.
It is something out there.
I know it is. I mean, conditions are super harsh, so we're going to make sure that you're prepared and up to speed. Thank you so much for joining us on What's New. I'm Carmen Blackwell.
I'm Mike Polk, filling in for Jay Crawford, who's taking a J day. And we, of course, have Betsy here focusing on the storm. She and the rest of our weather team have been around the clock tracking this storm. We also have crews keeping an eye on road conditions and power outages.
That's right. So let's get to Betsy, our chief, who's in the Weather Center right now with the latest look on the track of this storm. Hi, Betsy.
Do indeed have this snow that continues to be blown around. The additional snow has backed off considerably. We have lake effect that is ongoing. It is parallel to our lakeshore as of right now. That is expected to drift farther back to the south later on tonight into tomorrow. Jason will have more on those details coming up in just a moment. But traffic, as Carmen and Mike mentioned, it is treacherous out there. We had the flash freeze. Underneath the snow that you see is ice, and there's a lot of black ice to contend with. The road crews are salting, but it is so cold the salt is not effective. They have to do the special beet juice and other additives to get it going. You can see just how slow it is going on many of our roadways, and our areas out to the west are specifically prone to the blowing snow because of how wide open it is. We mentioned that the turnpike is closed, so if you've ever taken the turnpike out and gotten off at 250 to go to Cedar Point, that is the exit that all westbound traffic is being diverted onto. And then in Fremont, all the eastbound traffic is being taken off of the turnpike. And so right now there are 2 modes to get around this. You either have to go up along the lakeshore on US 6 or you take US 20 that goes around Norwalk. So that's the workaround. But you are dealing with a lot of traffic and roads that just aren't built to handle it. So significant delays in this area west of Cleveland on the turnpike. And again, it is closed between US 250, that is exit 118, and Ohio 53, which is exit 91. Just north of there, on the Edison Bay Bridge that crosses out into Port Clinton, this is the visibility that we have been seeing throughout a good part of the day today. This camera failed a few times, but you can see just how snow covered it is, how the visibility has been, really compromised because of the blowing snow. All around the area, you remember that radar I showed you? The only active snowfall is happening out over the lake, but our visibilities remain at or below a mile throughout Northeast Ohio, many places below 1/4 of a mile, and that continues as we go through the rest of the day. We have peak wind gusts now through 9 p.m. and then slowly things will begin to back off. But those peak wind gusts in excess of 50, possibly even 60 miles per hour here as time continues to go on. Sustained winds in the white, wind gusts in the yellow. We did have a wind gust earlier today, Fairport Harbor, 74 miles per hour. That is hurricane strength winds with this storm. Not only do we have the wind and the snow and the blowing snow, but it is absolutely frigid. Your heart goes out to the people stuck out on the turnpike because of these frigid temperatures. Can you imagine getting in an accident like that and then being stranded out there in sub-zero temperatures with wind chills at 30 to 35 below zero until somebody comes along and hopefully gives you some kind of a shelter. So anyway, the temperatures are currently well below zero and holding. We may see temperatures come up a little bit tonight. That is some good news, but we're not going to have a massive warm up. We're talking about 0 or 1. And of course, this puts into play then the power outages. These are the current power outages as of 4 p.m. per First Energy. Cuyahoga County, over 7,000 customers without power, more than 2,400 in Erie County, that's out by Sandusky. Lorain, Portage, Richland, and Summit counties all reporting significant outages at this point as well. Peak outages have ranged anywhere from 20,000 to 40,000 throughout the day today. Those crews, kudos to our linemen and the incredible engineers who are making the electricity continue to flow, because it is a challenge today. Remember that blizzard warning continues. Cuyahoga, Lake Geauga, and Ashtabula counties, that's where the highest snowfall is expected. Elsewhere, winter storm warning and wind chill warnings continue for us. Jason's going to pick up the story as far as the forecast goes for the rest of the day.
Thank you, Bats. I appreciate you, my friends. All right, Northeast Ohio, let's take you through the rest of the evening here. We can see over the next 12 hours, temperatures versus the wind chills. Notice this is in the pink with the wind chills. This is the feels like temperature on the skin with these wind gusts approaching 30 to 40 miles per hour across the region. It is going to be bone chilling out there, and it's also be quite dangerous as well. As Betsy was just saying, the wind is going to be expected to continue. The wind chill factor will be looming, not for just the next 12 hours, but next 24 hours and likely leading towards the next 36 hours as well. Let's take you through the rest of the evening. You can see it feels like temperatures near zero for Akron, Canton. We go back into the negatives and we remain in the negatives overnight tonight through the day tomorrow. We start to come up a little bit. Feels like temperatures back about 5-6 degrees for tomorrow afternoon. People are coming downtown. They're coming to the game. But this trough is really holding steady across the region. You can see the vast majority of the Midwest, even extending over towards the I-95 corridor, still very chilly temperatures. Boston is that one New England city that is still not feeling the brunt of this frontal boundary, hasn't made it there yet. But when you look at the map, you see that very strong area of high pressure, that deepening strength of the area low pressure that brought this really strong front to come in to the region with that Arctic funnel right in between here. That cold air is locked in place and it's remaining in place. Throughout the afternoon, still some light scattered snows in the snowbelt region through the evening. It begins to taper as the low is pulling up to the north, but that is going to be happening very, very slowly. Still blowing snow around with the high wind gusts approaching 40 miles per hour at 5-6 a.m. for tomorrow. We'll talk about the Browns forecast at kickoff time and also talk about what we can expect because temperatures will be warming. We will now start to stair step back to warmer conditions once we get to Saturday as well as Sunday on Christmas Day. Carmen and Mike.
Okay, Jason and Betsy, thank you so much. Well, travel problems, let's talk about them because there were so many of them today. They're nothing short of a hot mess, if you will. Several counties are under snow emergencies, including Erie, Huron, Sandusky counties as well, which are under a level 3 emergency, meaning emergency vehicles only are allowed on the roadways there. Several other counties are under level 1 and level 2 emergencies. And despite the hard work of ODOT truck drivers, the roads are still such a mess. So we bring in Lindsay Buckingham. She joins us live now with an update from ODOT Force. Lindsay, how are you?
Hi there, Carmen. A mess indeed. The roads are a mess. There's blustery snow. We're actually in the ODOT garage right now near Cleveland Hopkins Airport, and this is what we've been seeing all day long. These trucks and plow drivers have been backing in and out, filling up with salt, then hitting the roads again. They're working hard to keep us safe, even when conditions are terrible like today. So this is what Brook Park Road looked like earlier today. Complete whiteout conditions right next to the airport. Semi-trucks spinning and cars getting stuck. Trying to help with travel condition, these plow trucks in Northeast Ohio on the roads this holiday weekend. Drivers rotating 12-hour shifts. Their attack, a combo of salt and a beet juice solution to try and melt that ice. ODOT says despite what your street may look like, drivers are out there for the long haul.
And you might travel through an area because of the wind and because of how things are shifting. It might not look like a plow's been out there recently, but trust us, our plows are out. They're doing their loops and they're constantly re-hitting the roads and getting you where you need to go.
And ODOT says the trucks are working with about 226,000 tons of salt this winter in Northeast Ohio. And in Cuyahoga County alone, about 20,500 tons. So as always, if you absolutely have to travel, please give yourself plenty of time. Give these truck drivers and plow truck drivers plenty of room to work. Also, Cleveland Police tweeting out earlier, if you are east of Cleveland and you're traveling on I-90 West, avoid it. It is a sheet of ice because of that lake splashing on the roads and freezing. So be careful out there, Carmen.
Okay, Lindsay, thank you for the tips, and we'll certainly check back in with you a little bit later. Thank you.
Well, power outages are a main concern with this storm. In fact, thousands of residents in Northeast Ohio are currently in the dark. Neil Fisher spent the day speaking with local utility companies about the problems. Neil, do we know how long folks are going to be without power?
Hey, good afternoon, Mike. We do know that Cleveland Public Power has told me that more than 1,000 folks in the Cleveland area are without power this afternoon. Meanwhile, First Energy, more than 30,000 customers are without power right now. That number climbed all the way to 40,000 this afternoon, but right now it's at 30,000. We do know that they helped 12,000 earlier this morning get their power restored. The wind and the gusts have been a major problem that First Energy has been dealing with throughout the day. The sustained winds have caused lots of issues. Early Friday morning, 30,000 First Energy customers were without power, and it's only climbed from there.
The challenge really has been that we cannot safely get our crews up in bucket trucks if the wind is over 40 miles per hour. So we're doing as much as we can. We've restored power to more than 12,000 customers who are impacted by doing, some ground restoration and also remotely restoring customer to power in some areas where we have done some of those smart grid enhancements.
Throughout the day, we've seen fallen trees on power lines as crews try to figure out the best way to handle them. We've seen counties with just a few dozen outages to counties with more than 8,000 outages. First Energy tells me it could be minutes, hours, or even days to get your power back at this point, and it's only expected to get worse as we go through the evening. First Energy expecting more power outages to occur this evening with the gusts continuing to rise. Mike.
Neil, thanks so much for staying on top of that.